filtering in. I'm Gabe Frost. I'm the group program manager in the Windows Update team. And my team in particular builds all the service technology and client-side technology on Windows PCs for doing Windows Update on enterprise commercial devices.
My name is Craig Marl. I'm a program manager on the Intune team. I have fingers in many pies, one of which includes Windows Update for Business. I also own a bunch of the Office deployment stuff as well.
And so we're going to talk today about a template. We talk about this internally, and we thought in past shows we've introduced some concepts here, but we want to walk you through a template for what it looks like to do a thoughtful deployment at any kind of scale. A rollout of updates, whether that's quality updates or whether that's feature updates that we push down, or Office in particular. And we're going to go into some detail about how Microsoft executes this template to deliver on the tenant we manage, which turns out to look like about 1 billion machines. You know, when we think about Windows 7 and Windows 10 and all the devices that we push updates to, but how we stage rollouts using AI. And so we'll go into a little bit of detail about what that looks like. And finally, we're going to talk about how you can execute this template using the tools that we make available to you, like analytics and configuration options that you can set on your PC. And then some of the forward-looking things that we know about, that we've heard feedback on, and sort of provide a little glimpse with some forward guidance on things that we're working on. So hopefully we can have a thoughtful conversation at the end and have some time for Q&A. So to get started, I always like to frame that we're in the update business, and we push a lot of updates out. Since we released Windows 10, we've released over 13 billion quality updates out of our service. About 1 billion feature updates to devices, and this is just Windows 7 and Windows 10 and the time frame that we've done Windows 10. When we look at our total throughput and whatnot out of our CDN, we're pushing multiple terabits per second out constantly just with updates. And so we have to put in place these processes and best practices in order to scale this and do a good job at it. And so we've had to, over time, learn. It's a learning process for us as we've transitioned to delivering Windows 10 as a service. And we break the stages down in this template into three categories. And I will say that these slides are going to be available for everybody offline, so you can get access to all this information directly if you like. And so we kind of go through these stages that we have felt has worked for us and we think will work for you. And the first part is about getting prepared, making sense of the world that you're having to do updates for, and assess the readiness for those devices that are under management for you to update. And that involves really looking at the diversity of hardware and software you have, and having a sense of what these set of bits that you're pushing down onto the device, what the interaction is going to be on those. I'll go into some more detail about what we do there, but we've created this community that we call Windows Insiders that help us with that. And then the second phase is a piloting phase where we've gotten some early feedback. We have a sense of what's going on. We can look at some of our diagnostics data and get a real feel for whether there's any major issues in that early stage. When we go into a pilot, it really, this is an interesting challenge that we know that you all face, which is, given this great diversity of hardware and software that you're having to deal with, how do you now do some compute, usually in your head, with a bunch of testing and whatnot, in order to figure out a set of machines that best represent that diversity that you're dealing with, the smallest amount possible, so that you can dip your beak and get a sense of, okay, how is this going to work before my broad rollout? And this is a place where you're having some listening systems. You know that there's some folks that might send you an email really quickly if something's going wrong. You have a general sense of how modern the hardware you have and what you expect to work really well. But this pilot phase is really important. And last, once you get past those phases, you're moving into this broad deployment, which is just an always running thing, where you have rings that you're moving updates through, you're monitoring. If things go wrong, you're remediating. You have some sort of connection to help desk and whatnot. And so these 3 phases, going from assessing readiness into pilot and into broad deployment, is the template as a whole. And so it's interesting, for us, we'll sort of share a coming of age tale for the Windows Update team and how we have evolved, because we're learning as well as we go through the service process. And when we started Windows 10, when we first released it a handful of years ago, we didn't do any piloting to start with. Like in the old days, the engineering team, we would work on things, we would look at all of our dashboards and understand all of the bugs and sign off all of the high priority bugs and then release to the world. And everybody would go get it at once. Again, the tenant we manage are consumers. And so in this scenario, you would approve the update before people, the client or the devices under your management would go and get it. But generally speaking, when we released these bits, we did a lot of testing on them, and we had some listening systems. In particular, we looked at the insider community, which was a new invention for us, so that we had millions and millions of machines that we could go take a look at before we rolled out. But we had a key learning from that first set of rollouts, and that is the insider community and those early stage folks that are willing to raise their hand and say, I want to test this early, I want to get access to it. The diversity of hardware and software there doesn't represent the broad set of customers that we support. These are folks that tend to be much more, they seek out things very early. They tend to be running much more modern machinery. They're updating their graphics cards and staying up to date with technology. And so we found that even though we were looking at the data from this insider community, it wasn't representative, and when we were pushing things out, we were finding some issues pretty quickly. And we knew that we needed to form a pilot audience, and so we enabled what we call seekers, right? And so instead of us self-selecting and monitoring a set of, or us selecting and monitoring the set of feedback that came in from the insiders, who opted in, we enabled anyone during a certain time to go in and just check for updates. And anybody who intentionally chose to check for updates helped us bootstrap the process and helped us learn, figure it out before others who it just came down on a schedule. And we also did some manual staging. And so we had a sense from all of the development time and the experience that we had, what are the combination of hardware and drivers that we felt, in software in particular, that we felt ran really well. And we pushed those set of devices early because we had higher confidence that they would succeed in updating. And then we used the insider information as well as the pilot information to help us sort of bootstrap the process and move things along. And we learned a lot from that too. And we learned that if we could do a much better job computing all the permutations of hardware and drivers and software that were running on machines, we could do a much better job at putting devices that we had much higher confidence in up front. And so if you could imagine hundreds of millions of machines in every permutation of software and hardware, that's a lot of compute in order to do that, especially if we're going to do that very regularly. So we knew that we needed to develop some machine learning techniques in order to do that. And so what was great about this is it allowed us to detect a set of patterns around what's a good update and what's a bad update. And it allowed us to, for a set of devices that we had a high confidence, for doing good updates, we could automate our ring population in order to ensure those devices with the least risk went out first. And we knew that if we constantly retrained our models as devices came in, we'd be able to reorder the stack in terms of how we're rolling things out that give us more time to reconcile issues, fix bugs and defects here and there, and work with partners that we identify issues. It gives us more time to resolve those things for machines to go out and have a much better update experience. And as part of that, we also incorporated a set of post-update health diagnostic monitoring in the process. So a simple example is if an update goes down to a machine and everything looks good and it comes back up and it never checks back in, something happened. A lot of things that could have happened, but either way it happened, and we can look at those permutations and figure out what's going on, but move devices that match those patterns out of the rings so that we can be more safe. And then finally, where we are now is introducing a great deal of automation in combination with that machine learning that drives the process, which feels much more like artificial intelligence in what we're doing here. And so it's been a huge advance for us to, for example, most recently, we've started connecting a lot of the listening systems that we have. And so in a few releases ago, it was listening for post-update health issues that would come from the machine. It didn't come back up or something of that nature. But we would see like post-update crashes or hard hangs, things like that. But we've also integrated a set of listening systems beyond that we have internally, much like you would consider. We have Microsoft support. That's our help desk. And we've integrated with those systems so that we can monitor certain thresholds of call volumes or ticketing volumes and understand what are the specific issues that are being filed so that we can start to automate, putting devices, back into audiences and removing them from audiences so that we can move forward. So what we're trying to do is find this balance between velocity of rolling out updates and safety. And we bias towards safety in everything that we're doing here. And so let's talk about this. So the way that, at a high level, the way that we approach this process for our machine learning, our goal is to predict the probability of success of a device updating, of updating successfully. And so we look at a whole set of features that are in our model. We look at, take drivers and firmware and apps, as I mentioned, and we look at all of the different permutations of these things, and we identify a set of patterns. And for every device that we know about, hundreds of millions of them, we correlate these patterns. And so imagine a giant database that has device IDs and it has patterns, and we can cross-connect all of those patterns and then run some statistics on it in order to essentially score every device as being a good update or a bad update with a probability associated with it. And so this is a score between 0 and 1. 1's 100%, 0's bad. And you might imagine a very simple selection logic to just stack rank those things and grab the ones on the top and keep retraining and grabbing the ones on the top. We do some more sophisticated things, but that's a simple way to think about it. And so now we have this table with hundreds of millions of devices and a probability of success. And we then look at that and create audiences with it. And so we have a service that runs that's looking at that regularly, and it's publishing to a, we can manage the audiences so that when these devices scan Windows Update and they are in that audience, we have something to offer them. If they're not in the audience, we have nothing to offer them. And so this is how we phase the rollout over time. And as installs succeed or fail on those devices, we're constantly retraining our model. constantly. So when we identify issues and we're rescoring those devices, we're resorting our tables, and our logic is determining whether or not a device is in an audience we think it's going to have a successful update or not, and we're removing it or we're adding it. And this is just an ongoing, constant process. And these listening systems are helping us tighten the loop in terms of the latency between when we identify an issue and when a device is added or removed from these audiences, so that when they scan, we offer them something or not. So let's apply the template we talked about to that process. So in the early phases when we're assessing readiness, and this is during development time at various different phases, we're using the insider community that we have available to us. And we have seekers who can, in the very early stage, right before, usually it's a week or so before we release to the world, you can check for updates and go get that. But again, we respect that the diversity of hardware and software that we're seeing in that audience from several million devices isn't going to be fully representative. So we need something else to bootstrap our process, to bootstrap the training of our model. And so this is where we have this pilot selection, where we'll look at all of these different permutations of devices and look at what we know, and we'll pick a subset of devices that we already don't know about from our insider audience. So we understand this set of devices. We want to look at a broader set of devices, and what is the smallest number that we can look at with some caps in order to better train and better understand what's going on. And we do that through a piloting phase. And at each one of these phases, our listening systems, we have some pauses in there so we can evaluate our listening systems, make sure that the robots are doing a good job. We have humans looking at it to make sure, okay, does everything look all right here before we transition to the next stage as we get better and better. And then after that pilot stage, we open it up to this process where devices are constantly moving in and out, and we move through that loop that I talked about. And so here's the results. What you're seeing here is the last 3 releases as we've gone through that journey of learning and improving and trying to bias safety as we go. And on the upper part, what you see is the essentially the adoption, like how quickly each release is adopted. And this is about a 4-month period that we're looking at here, where we're going through this machine learning model. And in the bottom, it shows our call volumes from Microsoft support that are specifically related to, for calls or tickets that have come in that are specifically related to the new update that comes out. And the scale here on the call volume is these are customer support contacts per hundreds of millions of devices. And so we were able to push out for the very latest release, the fastest ever, within about 3 months, just a little over 3 months, we were able to successfully update, meaning few post-update health issues. So we were successful in picking, our probabilities were right in picking the right devices, and seeing better health after update than before for over 250 million devices within 3 months. And during that time, we saw a 20% reduction, and these are big numbers, and so 20% reduction of overall system stability issues for devices. And so that's looking at OS issues, driver issues, firmware interactions, things of that nature. And because we were choosing early devices that were highly capable of updating, especially those that were more modern and had more modern hardware, we were observing offline updates completing for a feature update around 3 minutes for a set of devices. And so being able to choose the right devices to update first leads to overall far better user satisfaction. We're able to drive greater safety dramatically in implementing this model. And so we think that the template works in terms of generalizing the types of things that you would do. And we think that the advancements that we've made in the service to use machine learning and automation to drive these processes has enabled us to deliver a better service overall. So what does this mean for you? How do you execute this template? Well, first, the point of the template is really to help you think through the types of things that you need to set up, the processes and best practices, the connection points for you to succeed at doing these kind of rollouts. The first is, think through some big questions. Like, there's some obvious things like, hey, is my organization ready to do this, right? Some of us are managing organizations with a regular rhythm of business. For example, you probably don't want to update an accounting firm during tax time, right? But there's some obvious types of things, education, whatnot. There are just certain rhythms that you have to be thoughtful about. Thinking about, like, have you run a pilot? How are you measuring that? Like, how are you choosing the devices? Just really reasoning through, have I appropriate audience that reasonably represents a broad set of devices that I'd be rolling out to? And ultimately, what's my plan for staging that rollout over time? Concept of rings, which we'll get into. Build an understanding of the tools that we make available, like analytics. We've had some great announcements during Ignite about desktop analytics. There's Windows analytics that's available as a precursor today that you can use. Thinking through things like, is this, when I'm thinking about doing a rollout at scale, do I want to manage on-premise infrastructure? So, most of our customers are using Config Manager. Some customers are using Intune, full SaaS solutions. But these are the things to reason through now. And ultimately, beyond just, this general concept of rings, thinking through organizationally how you want to stage that. Do you want to do that based on certain departments? Do you want to do that based on certain kinds of machines, certain kinds of your users that you might have described in Active Directory, for example? And ultimately, thinking beyond the tools that we provide and the template we describe as, what are your listening systems? Who are the folks that are going to raise their hand and let you know early when something is happening, right? How are you going to reason about help desk volumes that are coming in? And what's your process and your thresholds for when you see something, how to stop the rollout or how to go and remediate issues? Like, just being prepared so that you can have the best experience possible as you roll out. And so we provide a set of tools, and it starts with the Insider program, right? So we have an Insider program. We have something that we call Windows Insider for Business. This is really a way for you to enroll a handful of early adopters that feel comfortable with early software so that you can do some early assessments. You can prime the pump, so to speak, and get a sense of, okay, I have a set of line of business apps. I want to understand if there's going to be any major issues here. Are there any kind of compatibility problems, things like that. And we provide analytics so that you can reason about the diversity of hardware and software and readiness to update and post-update health-related issues. And I want to, one of the things that I'm going to spend a little bit of time on is these policies. We generalize these as Windows Update for Business, which is not a product. This is essentially a generalization of a set of configuration ability that you have to control how Windows Update behaves. We'll walk into some details about what that looks like. And ultimately, the desktop management software that you choose in order to configure those things. I'm going to show a couple examples today. I'm going to just show the very basic, GP update, right, for those that would be using group policy in order to configure these. We're going to see a demo, a live demo of what it looks like to configure these and drive a process using Intune. But you could very well, run scripts to set these things. You can use Config Manager to set these things. So really want to emphasize that these are just a set of policies that control how Windows Update works, and you can use the tools you love in order to configure those things, and I'll give a few examples. By a show of hands, how many in the room are familiar or have heard of Windows Analytics or Desktop Analytics? Wow, that's great. About half of you. And so what's really great about this is when you enroll your devices into analytics, you can now start to reason on that diversity of hardware and software that you have, and it empowers you to understand early if you have hardware that's out of support, if you, how to take devices and create a pilot group with them. How do you efficiently create the smallest set of device population necessary in order to pilot? And as you're running through those, getting a feedback loop on whether devices have successfully updated or not. So update, think about this like a compliance, almost like a sediment chart to understand, what is the diversity of hardware that you have, what releases are they on, when are they succeeding in their updates, and ultimately some post-update health information. So there's been some, I'm not going to go into a great deal of detail on this in this session, but there are others that you can go watch that walk through demos and talk about these really great products. I mentioned beyond analytics, thinking about the client controls with policies. And so this is really important for you to understand the set of controls that you have in driving Windows Update. There is a fairly fine-grained set of things that you can do, but this is where you define what devices are in which rings. This is where you set things like what's the frequency at which you'd like devices to check for updates, when you want to allow devices to start updating, and by when, deadline perspective, experience elements like, do you want a hard deadline? Do you want a soft deadline in terms of like what the UI looks like for consumers? And so great deal of settings that are available, and these are exposed, as I mentioned, via group policies, or we also expose them as CSPs, so MDM software can configure them. So any of the management software that you have typically has support for configuring these things today. And ultimately, we're going to show a demo with Intune. And so some of these policies, we group them into 3 different buckets. First is about deployment rings and deferrals. And so we have a concept where when a device checks, you can set a deferral to say how many days do you want the device to defer taking the update. By default, it's none. So when a device scans, if there's something available to it, it will happily just take it. If you want to pump the brakes and say, I want to back off a certain number of days before devices take that update, you can do so using setting a set of deferral days. And this applies to both quality updates and feature updates independently. Now, what's interesting about this is it's your way to synthesize rings. So you might imagine splitting the set of devices you have into 3 groups, just to keep it simple. And you might set the first group, the way you describe them as one group in a ring is by setting them all with the same deferral. So maybe you have 15 days, and then you have another group of devices that have a deferral set to 30 days, and then you have a third group of device set to 45 days. And that way, you're staging how the update goes through your organization by using this concept called deferrals. Beyond the deferrals, you can choose the kind of release that you want. And so this is whether or not you want to have the pre-release bits come down, whether you want the released semi-annual channel bits to come down, or whether you want the insider preview bits to come down. And so this is a way for you to choose which of those that you want and how you're going to stage those across the organization and apply a deadline, a number of days by when you want these devices to have downloaded and applied the update. The second group is, what is the steady state behavior from an automatic update perspective? And so this is where, for example, you could say, here's a set of active hours that I don't want devices updating within. Or what the frequency, how often should these devices scan and check for updates? And last, whether or not you want devices to be offered device drivers. So you can opt in or opt out to receiving device drivers from Windows Update. And finally, from a ongoing deployment sort of management perspective, there's, I mentioned this sort of remediation motion where you might identify that some threshold has been hit your listening systems and you want a way to pause the update from happening. This is provide a mechanism by which you can do that. Or if something is problematic, you can roll back to the previous revision that was out. You can do this from any of these tools. And last, you can configure some delivery optimizations to optimize all these devices that are checking for updates over your WAN, setting up some caching and some peer-to-peer within your network in order to optimize your WAN links using delivery optimization. So I talked about rings. I really want to emphasize this point, right? Rings are really just a way for you, like you synthesize these rings using deferrals. And having a consistent configuration for sets of devices that have a deferral states when they should be offered the update and a deadline states by when they should get it. And so configuring groups of devices similarly allows you to synthesize these rings so that you can stage updates over time. And you can get pretty fancy with these. And so I mentioned a very simple one where you might have 3, but you can also have sets of devices that, as part of the template we mentioned, there's these 3 phases. So in the first phase, you might have a set of devices that get it very early, so there's no deferral, but the particular release that you choose is the insider preview slow, for example. So you set when they should get it, by when they should get it, and what the particular release that they want to get, in this case, insider preview for business. The second is your pilot audience, and so the pilot audience, you want to get the semi-annual channel, the very latest semi-annual channel, and they would go after the insiders for some period of days. And then finally, your last group, which are also a semi-annual channel, but they're a little further out so that you can reason on your pilot population. And as you're doing that reasoning, you have the ability to pause as it goes forward or roll back and adjust those dates based on your listening systems and your learning. And so here's a few screenshots. This is just, again, by way of example, just to sort of show you here that these are things that live on client devices. You could use GP Edit. Here's how you navigate to it. But this is, for example, where you set what is the particular release that you want to choose. In this case, you could choose a preview build slow. This is an insider preview release for that first ring. A few other examples for how to set deferrals, how to think about deadlines, and how to pause updates. There's a great deal of policies that you can go look at when you navigate into this hive called Windows Update, and you can, there's probably 30 or 40 of them in there, but these are some of the key ones that help you execute the template as we described.
My turn.
Your turn.
Thank God.
We'll have plenty of time for questions at the end.
I was getting a little bit numb sitting there.
My turn.
Let me get the blood flowing again. So over to 7. Actually, before we go to 7, we'll go on. We had a couple of slides to talk about before that. Look at that. I've messed up the demo already. Are you on one, Gabe, or two?
No idea.
Let's just try them all. I'm just going to press buttons around here. All right, well, that's always the fun about
I'll
doing
push the
demos.
buttons.
You push the buttons. I'll talk to the slides that you guys can't see. So imagine that you've seen some beautiful slides up here. So really we're talking about, before I get into the demo, and that's probably, the wheels are going to fall off that too. So for those of you that enjoy seeing demos fail,
Don't set yourself up.
I'm there
that
for you.
way.
Well, the nice thing about being a pessimist is that you're very rarely disappointed. So there's kind of three things that we wanted to talk about that
The main
sort of
slides.
to think about when you're setting up your rings. The kind of the earlier you can get stuff in front of users and sort of gently encourage them to install updates, generally the better satisfaction we see. Those folks have, I think all of us have had that experience of you're in the middle of doing something and it's like, hey, your machine's going to restart in 15 minutes. Tough. No one likes that, right? And so the more that you can sort of stagger stuff and get stuff out and allow users to kind of opt themselves into being managed, the better. Clearly, obviously, you always need a hard deadline, right? Because if you're like me, you don't like being managed because I work in the management team, and so users tend to push things as far as they can and keep pushing and keep pushing and keep pushing. So you always have to have that sort of that hard stop at some point. And then the third thing is kind of think about stuff as you're setting up the rings as far as DO goes, delivery optimization. And I'll talk a little bit about that. I think we've got a link somewhere to the session. Narcus is one of our peers on the Windows side that does all the delivery optimization stuff. There's a session coming up, I think. Is Narcus' session today, Gabe?
Yep.
Yep. 10:45. Oh, perfect.
Okay.
So once you're done being bored here, you can go to Narcissus and she'll tell you some awesome stuff. So DO's kind of a neat technology because it allows you to, some peer-to-peer stuff, but it's not purely peer-to-peer. It will do, vanilla HTTP download, and it's smart enough to sort of, get the bits from wherever it can as fast as it can. So it's not like it's going to sit there and wait for peers to get stuff. It'll take stuff straight from the internet, and it'll take stuff from peers, and it's pretty neat stuff. Don't worry, I can just jump in the demo now. There you go. Look at that, comes back up just in time. Magical. Yeah, and I mentioned kind of DO. Like I say, go to an Narcissus session. She will go into this into a lot more depth and is a lot more knowledgeable, certainly, than I am about probably everything, but especially when it comes to DO. So, yes, I talked about, when I was talking about the experience and sort of nagging the users and giving them sort of a nice opportunity to do it, there's this new feature called Engaged Restart. And so Engaged Restart is a way of you setting up sort of timing where the user will be prompted to say, hey, look, there's an update here, go take it. Come on, you want it, be nice. And then, you get to the point where it's like, okay, you didn't take what I offered you. You get it. As my friend Maya said in another session, you've got to ram it down their throats at some point, but hopefully you want to dangle that carrot in front beforehand.
One of the things that we have observed is when we look at the set of devices that have a hard update experience, which is we've installed the update and it is going to reboot within a certain period of time, versus providing this more user engaged, the overall user feedback across millions of devices is much more positive sentiment because they feel like they're much more in control of when that happens. Clearly, there's a trade-off between, and everybody in this room will face this, is there's a trade-off between security compliance and getting that machine updated and user experience. And so this is an area we're continually trying to evolve and improve in order to help balance that, because we know that it's a difficult trade-off.
All right, let's see if we can actually get into a demo. So this is Intune. How many folks here actually using Intune? Oh, good number. I'm surprised. Yay, thank you. We love you. The concepts apply, as Gabe said, right? The concepts apply, across the board, right? We config man, whether you're using Intune, GP, right? It's really kind of the conceptual model of how you set up these rings. So here's Intune on our shiny new device management.microsoft.com URL. And typically how I'd go set up rings is I'd go into the software updates workload and then choose my update rings. Now, what I've got set up here is pretty much kind of along the lines that Gabe laid out. I have a validation ring, which is where I put the people I really don't like, or those people who are masochists. I have my canary ring, which, those are the folks that I probably trust to tell me that if something is going wrong, and they're going to tell me wrong pretty quickly. And then, in this case, I've got 2 broad rings, and I'm going to show you how to create a third. And I'll tell you why I created those kind of 3 rings. It's not absolutely necessary, and you can pick as many as you like. We've got folks out there with as many as 50 rings, and some with, I'll explain why they've got 50 rings in a minute. And some as many as like 2 or 3, right? And so typical is anywhere between 2 to 5 is kind of average, and then some folks go bigger for a variety of reasons. So the experience is really simple. I hit create, let me call it a ring. I'll call this one broad 3 just to be consistent, because that's helpful. And then once I get into settings, essentially I get a choice here of all the things Gabe talked about. I get to set the channel, Windows Insider, SAC-T, SAC, whether you want all Microsoft updates or just Windows updates, opt into drivers, and then I can control obviously the install time and when the restart happens, whether my deferral period is probably the most important one. In this case, you'll see I've got deferrals ranging from 2, then 14, then 26 and 28. Those are probably long deferral times for quality updates, especially, and they might even be a little bit short for you for feature updates. But key thing is you can kind of pick and choose, whatever it is that you want to do for that. And so I'll keep with my general scheme and set that to 30. The interesting one that's new here at the bottom is the uninstall settings. And so what this allows you to do is if you want to do a rollback, especially feature updates is probably the biggest place we see this. If you want to do a rollback, the operating system will keep the previous window installation around for a certain period of time. And by default, I think that's 7 to 10 days off the top of my head. And you clearly need those bits to be able to roll back anybody in the ring. And there's a trade-off here in terms of, well, how much disk space do you want to kind of keep using up in the event that you need to roll back, and then how much do you need to free up? So if you've got a lot of machines out there that have plenty of disk, you can set this to a long period, and that'll give you that sort of extra safety net to be able to roll back. We default to 10 days because honestly, if you're going to hit big problems, if you haven't noticed them in 10 days, you're either asleep at the wheel or there's something else going on that I'm not even going to get into. So then once I hit create, we'll go off and we'll create that magical ring, and we'll prompt you to go and assign it. Now, here's the reason I created these 3 rings for my sort of broad 3 rings. If I look at my first ring here and who it's assigned to, what I've done is I've assigned it to, having to split up groups into IT guys in my various locations, in these fictional locations, and then my end users. And you'll see in this first ring, there's my first broad ring, I've got 2 IT people, and then I've got an end user group. Unfortunately, there's always got to be somebody that's got to be first, and in this case, it happens to be our friends in Paris, and that's nothing to do with me being English, honestly. And if you look at the second ring, what I've done here is, there you go, I've actually assigned that to my Melbourne end users, and then I've got Seattle IT and Chicago IT. And so the reason I did this, and this is the reason that a lot of folks use a whole bunch of different rings, is my first ring will go, and I'm going to send it out to my IT guys, right, in Seattle. And my Seattle end users aren't going to get it, but they're going to get it in the second ring. And by putting the IT guys in an earlier ring, what I end up doing there is I end up seeding the DO cache. And so we end up with customers, guys that have got 20, 30 rings, is they organize their rings essentially by buildings. And so what they'll do is they'll say, okay, building 1 goes on day 0. And I'll make sure that in my groups that I've got in the ring for building 1, there's actually some people from building 2. And so building 2 ring goes on day 2. And so when the users then start to scan on day 2, there's already guaranteed to be some people in that building that have already downloaded the bits. And so that way they get something like about a 98, 99% cache hit rate for DO. Now you kind of trade off the complexity with sort of organizing your rings that way, but this is a good example of where you can kind of trade those things off for speed and safety of how you want to get updates out, and then also sort of tweak them and optimize them for content delivery and bandwidth usage, because obviously you've got an ingress cost here. So that's generally how you'd set up update rings for Windows Update for Business. How many folks here use Office? Anybody? 1 or 2? So Office, unfortunately, right now, does not have an equivalent sort of ring metaphor. How many folks would like to see some kind of ring metaphor for Office? Would that be useful, or do you guys manage Office? Okay, we're working on something. So you can't inherently get that right now, but there are a couple of things you can do with Intune, and you can do this with ConfigMan and anybody else. The concepts apply. And so in Intune, what I've done here, I've got three distinct versions of Office, because I can create multiple instances of Office Pro Plus. And what I've actually done is I've created the same kind of mapping, right? I've got validation version, I've got a canary version, I've got a broad version. And they're all the same configuration of Office in terms of the apps and all the rest of it. But one of the interesting things I can do, and you can do this with ODT, and you can do this with a whole bunch of other things, is by default, if you don't do that, as soon as some new bits are propped on the CDN for whatever channel you happen to be on, Pro Plus, the click-to-run engine will just basically update it, and you're good to go. If you want to avoid that and have some more control over it, you can actually pick a specific version. And so we call this version pinning. And so you can create multiple instances of Office and say, all right, I want to be on, in this case, this is my validation ring, like I'm on this 1803 build. And I can take a newer one if I wanted to. And then if I look at my canary group, that's on a slightly later version. And then again, my sort of broad is, there we go. My broad one is, again, on a 1703 build, a 1708. And so what I can do is I can basically pick the version of Office I want, and then when there's a new release comes out, I can just go in and I can say, okay, change this version. So if I'm happy in this case that my validation has passed on the 1803 build, everybody else in my broad version of Office is still on 1708, I can just come in and pick the specific version I want, click OK. Once I've saved it now, what'll happen next time the device checks in, they'll get that new version of Office. Now, the nice thing about doing that, and again, there's a little bit of a trade-off here, is once you're pinned to a particular version, that's it. You stay on that version. And you'll stay on that version forever unless you tell the client otherwise. So you're not going to get monthly updates. You're not going to get the security patches. You're not going to get fixes. So there's a little bit of there's a degree of risk there in terms of how much you're going to drift from being safely up to date. But especially if you're a financial company, you've got a bunch of users who are very picky about Excel or something like that, right? You can stick them to a known good version and stay there. And so this is a good reasonable way of sort of creating a ring analog that isn't really rings. And then we're definitely looking at a whole bunch of other stuff around, like, hey, how do we create rings, first-class entity with Office, and then other stuff. Gabe talked about the analytics stuff. My good friend Rama down there. We're going to be working on a whole bunch of integration. We know that the first round is for the config manager folks, because we love those guys too, and then we're working on a bunch of integrations with Intune. So I think between the three of us, there's going to be a sort of unholy trinity of updating, which hopefully will make life good for you. And back to you, Mr. Frost.
All right, switch over.
Which one was it on?
This is on 8. How many engineers does it take to use a switching box? 2, turns out.
Well, the switch back was better than the switch over.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. So in closing, we're not done. There's a lot of work we're continuing to do. And so we're really just highly focused on feedback and input. And so anytime anyone uses the feedback tool in Windows, we look at that feedback. You know, we're looking at Reddit, we're looking at Twitter, we're looking at any kinds of feedback channels that we have, as well as coming here and talking to you directly and having lots and lots of discussions with customers of various sizes in order to refine our understanding of how we should be prioritizing the work that we do. And so here's a couple things that we know, right? Like we're really, as was just mentioned, focusing on continuing to improve our analytics, because we know you need these insights in order to move much more quickly with making decisions. And having that at your fingertips in order to optimize so you're not spending a whole bunch of time doing a whole bunch of testing. You can focus your testing on things that actually matter. We know that velocity, like the number one thing that we hear is about your need to keep devices secure and ensuring that you can meet your compliance deadlines and get those monthly quality updates out as quickly and as safely as possible. And so we're investing in improving that over the next 6 months so that you have more control and you have more confidence in being able to meet whatever the commitments that you have as it relates to your individual company compliance goals. We know that network bandwidth management is a real top concern. You know, we're investing in things like better, binary compression, for updates that are coming down. We're really thinking about improvements around deployment optimization and how those of you that are using SUS, right, and config manager, how can you better optimize the bandwidth across your network so that these constant inflows of updates are something that you can feel you can manage much more predictably. And we know that phased deployments, which is a show of hands, how many folks have heard of phased deployments or know what that is? Awesome, lots of you. And so this is something that was introduced in Config Manager. We know that it is this loved concept. It kind of simplifies, it's greater expression, but it simplifies this ring concept that we're talking about. And so we're investing in helping bring that across the board in all the products that we have and simplifying that experience so that you can do phased deployments better. The other thing is that, as I mentioned, and this is one of the things that we really wanted to land, beyond understanding this template, like we're continuing to evolve ourselves and evolve our ability to deliver these things. I mentioned that we're creating, connection points for our listening systems. We're building AI in order to dramatically simplify the process and reduce the cost. This is something we're working on to productize and make available to you to dramatically simplify the types of work that you're doing. And we think that it's going to be a big deal. We also have the ability to put in place like compatibility blocks. If you know that there's something specific that's going on within your network and you don't want to just halt the entire rollout, but you want to be able to go, just don't update devices that are running this app or something like that. We want to provide those capabilities to you and provide integration points and work with software vendors so that they can help you drive the process and automate these thresholds and slowdowns the same way that we do internally. And so we have this mindset within the organization to make first party, third party. Everything we do, we want to make available to you because we think about these 700 million machines that we manage the same way that you think about the devices that you're managing. And if we can do it with the tools we have, we know you can do it, and we want to make sure you have everything that we have to succeed. And last, we know that as we do all of that, we have to meet you where you are, which means we're not going to have a conversation about, oh, you just need to drop all the tools that you're using and go switch to something new. It's delivering value that is unique for you and important and valuable for you and making it integratable within the tools that you're already using and that you already love so that we're not asking you to go change your tools. We're creating more capabilities that you can adopt at your pace. So that's it.